first off, I want to see if there's any questions on homework. Did you? Well, you can grab a seat. If your seat's open, you can take it. Must be people elsewhere at the moment. At the end of class, if you made it into the class, I do have a list of those who did. You can grab an ad code from me. So after class, just come up and grab an ad code. I think one of you guys emailed me already. Yeah. Good. Any questions from what we did last time? Or from homework?
Can you do question 8296?
'82 is the Anthony leaves Kingstown now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Move this whole operation this way. Anthony leaves Kingstown at 2 p.m. Drives to Queensville. Oh, that's clever. 160 miles distant. 45 mile an hour. At 2:15 p.m., Helen leaves Queensville. Blah blah blah. All these people going all over the place. So they want to know what time did they pass each other on the road? So at 2 p.m. 145 mile an hour. And we have 2:15 going at 40 mile an hour. So here's Kingsville, here's Queens, whatever. And it's 160 miles in between. Alright, cool. Okay. So, did anybody try this problem yet? Okay, one person, alright. So I'll tell you what, try something with this. Try to do something with this. If there's anybody out there who didn't raise your hand about trying because you barely tried because you didn't have a clue what to do, just hang on. This is number 82 on page 126. So the thing again is, leaves at 2 o'clock, going 45 mile an hour, leaves at 2:15, going 40 mile an hour. When will they pass each other? And of course, you just hang out for a little bit. What did you try? I mean,
Well, I went to student lab to figure it out, and I used the distance over time rate.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. What's your unknown? I mean, your unknown doesn't necessarily have to be time. To tell you honestly, the unknown really is just where on this continuum they actually pass, right? So identify that spot. It doesn't have to be perfect. They left earlier and going faster, so I'll bet you anything that it's going to be over on that side.
Yeah,
So how far is this?
about 66%. About.
I know what you're doing, but be careful. It's different times and different. It's too much there.
Yeah.
So be very specific. X. All right. So this is X. So how much is this?
Y.
X minus 15.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong necessarily with saying Y, but if you say it, it implies that we don't have a clue. We do have a clue. We don't have two unknowns here. We have one.
It's all for
Now, well, I haven't set anything up yet, but yes, eventually I want to solve for X, but what can I set up?
Tape.
So, this person left 15 minutes before that person. So that's got to play into this amount. And that might be tripping some people up as to how to include that. What's important is I think you said distance divided by rate, because D equals RT, dirt equals time.
Yeah.
It sounds like it might be useful.
So I guess when we
So how long, so if they left at the same time, the times would be the same that they're traveling. You with me? But this person's going to be 15 minutes more than whatever that person's time is. So this person went this far, going this fast. So what's this person's time? Let's call this person, for some reason, K for Kingsville, and Q. So TQ. And again, we might not agree on how to set things up. You don't have to set things up the same way I do. Obviously, you don't have to call things the same way I do.
Let's say T.
Well, the reason I'm not going to say just T is because one of them is going to be off by 15 minutes. Exactly. Cool. So what is TQ?
3.5.
Yeah, so you did, well, be careful now.
Oh,
I'm not
Q.
sure how you did
I
that.
was doing K, sorry.
Okay, so distance, how far did the Queensville person go? Yeah, 160 minus X. So distance divided by rate. Now do the same thing for the King dude. So see, you're getting to the point, and actually algebra is a little bit of this, but definitely pre-calculus and without a doubt calculus is where you've got to do something you've never known you can or should do, and that's be willing to play with the problem. Just throw what you know down in some organized way, figure out exactly what it is you don't know, and then go, okay, how do all these things relate? What's the underlying equation? What's the idea? And just start playing with it. When we hit trigonometry, if you can't play with the stuff, you're going to die. You have to be able to play with the stuff to really get some of this stuff done. Try something, it doesn't work, don't get upset, throw it out, try something else. All right, just play around with what you can do. So what is TK?
X over 45.
Okay, so how do these two relate now? Now I can set up an equation.
D.
X over 45.
Well, they're not going to equal each other, are they?
TQ
No,
minus
isn't it
15.
plus?
Who's been going longer?
Wouldn't it be X over 45 plus 160 minus X over 40 equals 160 miles total?
Careful, these are what physically?
Time.
Oh,
Times. Good. So be careful, yeah.
TK plus 15 equals TQ?
Well, who's been going on the road longer?
TK.
Who's been on the road longer?
T.
Yeah, so TK must be TQ plus 15. He's been on the road 15 minutes longer than this guy.
Oh,
You guys see that?
yeah.
Of course, now, it's really easy to sit back and agree with somebody doing a problem. I want you to realize the difference. But to get there, when I first read that problem, I didn't immediately know what to do. If you'll notice what I did, I wrote down what they told me for sure. I figured out what it was I really didn't know. And I don't know time, but I don't know distance, and distance is more immediately useful for me to say is my unknown. You with me? Because time, I'm like, that's 2 steps away from what the hell I kind of know. Like, shit, I don't want to do that. Let me stay right here. And then I realized, oh, good, I know the time now for this guy, the time now for that guy. So, I mean, I don't work all of these problems out ahead of time, right? And I'll tell you right now, there will be times on the board, and I hate when this happens as much as you do, but I'll get a little stuck because I've gone the wrong way somewhere. But it's kind of good for you guys to see that. You got to see the process. Don't just see somebody always seemingly knowing how to do the problem and then you're like, I have no freaking clue how the hell he did it. So is everybody cool now? Now you just fill it in. Oh, and the one thing to be careful about, I got to be careful. Yeah, that's 15 minutes, but all this is in hours, right? So 15 is
0.25.
yeah, so a quarter of an hour. So all the units have to match. Cool. See, there's a good example right there. Edit as you go. And then hopefully we all know how to tackle that problem. Please don't cross multiply there, that's a neat trick. So is that cool? Can you guys finish that up?
Oh my god, that was multiple.
Huh?
You said not to cause multiply, right?
No, yeah. Not now, anyway. You could maybe work it to a point where you could. going with you guys. What would be next step? There's a few different ways to do this.
Find a common number.
Yeah, LCD. Alright. So the main problem is the 40 and the 45 because the 4 is already in 40, so what would the LCD be? This is 8 times 5.
9 times.
This is 9 times 5.
And then
Here's a
times
neat
4.
way to do this. Right, so this guy needs an 8. I don't know which way you guys do this, but this is how I do it. I find kind of like the biggest thing they have in common. You with me? And again, whatever way you do it is great. Like here's how I do it. And then I rewrite them in terms of that. The 4 I can take it easy. So screw him. 4's in there already, so he's going to come along for the ride. He needs an 8. He needs a 9. And actually, he needs a 2 and a 9 and a 5. You with me? He needs a 2 to become an 8, and then he needs a 9 and a 5, and now they all have the same thing on the bottom. Okay. And since it's an equation, once you get all the bottoms the same, what are you allowed to do because it's an equation?
Because
Kill the bottoms, right? Just because it's an equation. So you'll get AX equals whatever the hell that is. It's now 1440. 90. Yeah. 1530 divided by 17. Do something. Say again?
The solution.
Oh, sorry. So you get 17x equals 1530, so x is whatever that division is. 90? Alright. Now, is everybody semi-cool with that? I mean, you guys could tackle that. Maybe not exactly the same way I did, but I don't care. There's a lot of different ways to do that. Is that the answer? What is x in this case? Distance. And they ask me specifically, at what time do they pass each other on the road? The cool thing is, if I go based off the king dude, it's after 2 o'clock, it'll be plus this time. So if I throw in there what x is, it's 2 hours past 2 o'clock, which is 4 o'clock.
Cancel out all the bottoms.
Definitely, right here. Because if you get all the bottoms now are 8 times 9 times 5, which is something, 360. So if I multiply both sides by 360, bam, bam, bam. That's a beautiful thing about the fractions in an equation. If you make all the bottoms the same, they can all go away because you got the two sides you can multiply to kill them. How we doing? Somebody decent? Some very scared looks out there. Yeah.
It is scary. Just to be totally clear, x equals slanty, that's the distance where they meet.
Yeah, because we go back to how we defined it. Yeah. So we definitely have to be better than we were when we were first in algebra, where it's very common to just stop when you get x. You got to go back and say, okay, is that what I really want? It's not only is it not what I want, it's the wrong units. Shit, it's distance, and they're asking for freaking time. So 2 hours past 2 o'clock. So 4 p.m. done. Now you could have went from 215. So if I plug in the 90 into TQ, 160 minus 90 is 70. 70 divided by 40 is 7/4 of an hour. Right, an hour and 45 minutes. What's an hour and 45 minutes past 215? 4 o'clock, yay! Of course they have to agree. How we doing? Cool, okay. Alright, some of you guys have your poker face on. Sounds okay, Jeff. Alright, any other questions? Or you had one other one, right?
I mean, I did it differently, but still, I guess I got the same answer as you got. I got
Sweet.
I just,
Like I said, there's a few different ways. That just happened to be the first way that came to me. So did you define your variable different or something?
I would just put 45t is equal to 40 parentheses t equals 15, and then
45t equals. Oh yeah, sure. That's even more direct. I like it. Because the 160 is sort of a red herring. You don't really even have to know the 160.
Yeah,
right?
you really don't. It's kind of
Yeah.
not.
I just like this way because we end up with an equation like that we all need practice on. All right. So what was the other question you had?
Oh, it was 96. But I guess we were supposed to use a calculator for that one.
Yes. Cool. So actually, it might be a good segue here in a minute. See if there's any more questions because I want to do a few things in the calculator, make sure because I think there's a few people in here who haven't really used. That's why I brought them in case you haven't gotten one yet. You need to borrow one. You can do so. So we'll be doing some calculator stuff later.
I got a question for number 27. I don't get how R goes from 1/2 to 5/2.
Oh, 27. So of course in this one, what's the main idea with the negative power? It means flip, reciprocate, flip, whatever, however you want to say it. So those three will come down here. So how many S's will I have on the bottom now? 7. And that's how I do it. I don't mess with all this. Subtract, me, divide, screw it. Flip the negatives, put them together. No big deal. What's going to happen to those two R's? They go over there, and of course you got to add it to the 1/2 R's that are already up there. And 2 plus 1/2 is your 5 F's, yeah. And then the final thing, 8/2. Sweet.
Do we have to go any further, like?
No. That's all I think we can do with it. That really, would be useful. Any other questions from the homework? Yeah.
Should we flip it first or multiply the 8 on 2?
Or divide the 8 It doesn't matter. How do you mean?
Like if we flip it first, it will be 8
Oh.
times 2.
Careful now. Like 4m to the negative 3. How do I rewrite that? 4 over m cubed. That 4 is not being raised to a negative power. Yeah, just like that 2 is not being raised to a negative power. Don't have a 16 at the end. That 2 stays down. It's to a first power, yeah. That's the easy thing. You get so used to thinking they're stuck together. Only in relation to plus and minus. They're not stuck together for this. Cool. Okay. So, I'll tell you what. I'll do this. Before we get into doing some calculator stuff, I have we're not going to do a ton of this. I just want to do a couple of group work assignments in the beginning so you guys have a chance to kind of get to know the people around you. So some group work. You will be turning this in. 1 sheet for each person. Don't just do 1 sheet for the whole group. You with me? So let's do this for a little while. Then whoever needs a calculator can grab it later and we'll do some calculator stuff. So maybe like groups of 2 or 3, at most 4, if you really want to do that. If you want to be a group of 1, understand, but try to group up. One group. Don't be scared.
So how much you got?
Related to that. I mean, you're used to
I just got this from my library. Mine, I have like a 83, but this goes a lot better than that. I see this is any good. So I just went to the library and checked it out. Yeah. You can only do it for like a week at a time or something, but I just need to tell you this one.
You guys want to do it?
You guys mind if I go? Oh, okay. You want to go in there? All right.
Probably not all one day. That doesn't mean that. What I'm saying is wait till Friday, and I'll tell you officially if there's anybody that's dropped. And, you got a plan B.
So here's the graph on the number line. That's what it looks like. It's going to the left.
Wait, see.
And when you try to use the I think you can get negative infinity minus. Oh, well, because he has to be back and forth.